Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, then welcome. I'm so glad you've stopped by. Because today we are reviewing the Morphe X Madison Beer collection. I have refrained from taking a look very thoroughly at this collection because I wanted it to remain sort of a mystery, if you will, while I did my review and my unboxing of all the products. I know the palette is more on the neutral side of a palette. I've definitely glanced at the picture, so I know kind of what I'm getting into. I know this isn't going to be some bright, colorful rainbow look, but I am excited to see how all of the products within the collection perform, what type of collection this might be. It kind of reminds me at first glance, kind of like Morphe 2-ish, that kind of vibe, but I really don't know yet. So if you would like to find out alongside me as to what the Morphe X Madison Beer collection really is, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. First, I would like to mention that whenever the post was made that I saw on Instagram on Trend Mood for the Madison Beer X Morphe collection, I had no clue who Madison Beer was. Honestly, until I googled who she was about 10 minutes ago, I still had no idea who she was. Apparently though, she created song covers on YouTube and Justin Bieber retweeted one of her YouTube videos, and apparently that helped her get signed by a record label. So that's where Madison Beer came from. I'm not sure exactly why Morphe decided to collaborate with Madison, although it does kind of make sense for Morphe being rather an influencer-focused brand, for them to collaborate with an influencer or a singer-songwriter because they do have influence. So it makes sense on that account, plus she wears makeup, so I guess that fits as well. Just for my opinion and who I would see a cosmetic brand collaborating with, this doesn't really hit the mark in my opinion, but that's probably only because I don't know who she is. If I did know who she is and I was a fan of her, then perhaps I would be more excited that it was a collaboration with her. Well, obviously I would be more excited that it was a collaboration with her. But since I'm not and since I don't, it's not that exciting to me. But I do love makeup, so it does have that going for it. Now the first thing that's in this collection that I'm going to open today, this is called the Channel Surfing 6-piece brush set, and it is strictly for eyes, and it comes with this little bag as well. It's a cute bag. I feel like this is a very gender neutral color and it's very clean. It's just nice looking. So when we open this set up, the 6 brushes that it comes with were $25 in total, and we've got a large round blender brush, a blending fluff brush, a pencil crease brush, a pro precision smudger brush, a pointed packer brush, and an angled liner brush. Then we have the Madison Beer Channel Surfing Artistry Palette. On the front, it's the same color as the brush bag. It has this nice clean slate gray kind of color. Has the name of the palette on the unit carton. Then on the back of it, it has a picture of Madison and a little description saying that she's excited to share her go-to glam set. And apparently this is all of the colors that she uses, all of her favorites that she uses on the daily. Then the palette itself, same thing. It's that clean slate gray. On the back, it just has the name of the palette, the expiration date of 12 months, and shows that it's for use around the eyes. So that leads me to believe it is actually an eyeshadow palette, not a pressed pigment palette, I think. It's kind of cool with the words that are embossed on it because they're reflective, and it has a bunch of zeros and ones all along the outer edge, so like channel surfing, TV, technology, communication, 0101, the digital language, if you will. So that's cute. And then if we open the palette, there she is. So it looks like we've got quite a few very neutral tones. Some warm, some cool. Honestly, mostly cool. I do see mostly cool. I like that there's a black. I like that there's a cream. So we have some light tones and deep tones. Looks like this is kind of everything you would need to create a neutral look of any kind, really. And again, they did print all of the shade names on the clear plastic protector that goes on top of the shadows. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in so that we can get going on swatches. And with that, there's every single shade from the Morphe X Madison Beer Artistry Palette. And you guys know, as always, I will insert photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And here we have a video close-up of every single swatch. So if you've ever used a Morphe palette, you already know the quality of those swatches and what it feels like is going to be the quality of the eyeshadow palettes on the eye as well. I feel like most Morphe collaboration palettes are pretty guaranteed to be close to the same formula. They always seem to swatch the same. Admittingly, they're not the most amazing swatches I've ever felt or the most amazing eyeshadow formula I've ever felt, but they are definitely not the worst I've ever felt. I personally think they're pretty good for the cost. They are more of a drugstore brand, and the prices do reflect that, which make me thankful because it gives a lot of people like me options that they might not normally have. Now, as you can see, I have already primed my eyes with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 01, and I also mixed that with a little bit of the Jeffree Star Magic Star Concealer in the shade C0, which is a white, just to lighten it up a little bit. And I'm thinking today we're probably going to do more of a neutral look. I'm not sure, but based on the shades in this palette, it seems like I'm drawn to that a little more. Also, this mirror is very large, and I like it quite a bit. It is the perfect size to fit my whole face within the frame, and that's awesome. Now, back to application. I'm gonna start by using this big fluffy round brush. What do they call it? The large round blender brush. And I'm gonna start by using the shade Emotional Bruises. That's such a sad shade name. My emotional bruises show through in my artwork. Now, I am going to use this shade to essentially just set all of the base. I pretty much want to make this my base tone for everything. I personally am very drawn to those mauve-y purpley tones. As many of you know I can't stay away. And I'm also going to go ahead and pull this shade out onto this outer area here to give me that kind of wing shape, if you will. You know, this brush is really perfect for this. I don't think I have a Morphe brush that's like this, where it's that more flat sort of dome top instead of a tapered top, but the way it sits, I mean, it fits perfectly right here to make this circle, and then it's really easy just to tap and bring all the way around. That shade applied really, really beautifully. I mean, it looks gorgeous and pigmented and soft. It's really pretty. But I think the brush that I was using was actually the blending fluff brush, and now I think I'm gonna use the large round blender brush. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. And with this one, I'm gonna go into the shade Fight Club, but we're not gonna talk about it. And with this shade, I'm just gonna start deepening up the outer corner of the crease and then blow that out a little bit higher up onto the brow bone, just so you can still see the shade once I have my eye open all the way and my hooded lid is covered. Just want to make sure I don't lose all that color. Wow. That shade pairs really gorgeous with this. The shade's almost like a mauve, but it's got a lot more warmth to it versus Emotional Bruises, which has more of like a coolness to it. So adding this warmth to the crease isn't only deepening it up, but it's also giving it a little bit more dimension. Yeah, that's really pretty. It's awesome too how it starts out where you can just apply it gently and lightly and kind of just deepen up the previous shade, or you can really pack it on and make it super, super warm and slightly orangey toned. I'm also going to pull this shade out just a little bit to give it that wing shape as well. And now, to deepen things even more, I'm going to use the pencil crease brush and the shade Zeppelin, which is actually the deepest shade I've used so far, but it's more of a cool brown than it is a cool mauve. And with this shade, I'm just using the tippest point of the brush and applying it right in the crease. Actually, I'm kind of going a little bit above the crease, but I just want to use the point to make sure that I stay as detailed as possible, and then I'll blend it out with another shade just to be sure that the deepest shade doesn't get too big too fast. Now this time I'm not going to pull out the darkest shade into the V shape because I'm going to save that for another color. I'm just going to pull it down and finish off this elliptical shape that I have going in the crease, just so it kind of closes off that ellipse. Now that the shade Zeppelin is applied in the crease, it's obviously not blended out. I just have that circle of color there. I'm going to go back in with this pointed blender brush. What was it called again? Large round blender brush. And I'm not going to add any pigment to it. I'm just going to take the brush by itself and just go back around this edge here and just diffuse so that that line isn't so sharp. This way I'll still have that soft blend to it, but it won't deepen it any more than it already is because it is pretty deep already. And that way I don't lose some of that purple tone that I still have. I can still keep all the pretty mauve-y colors that I really like, but it'll still be soft and blended out. So now I'm going to use the pointed packer brush, and I'm going to use the shade Pixie. Kind of had to dig into the palette pretty hard to get that out, but it came out and it looks really pretty on the brush. It's nice that the brush is pointed too, so I can really get in there at the inner corner. Now this definitely isn't the most metallic shimmer shade I've ever used, for sure. But now that I've gone in with the dry brush and saw what that looked like, I'm now going to do the same thing, take a bunch on the brush, but I'm going to use my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and I'm going to spray the brush just a bit. Then we're going to see what it looks like with a wet brush. It's a lot more metallic looking. Since I finished with all the main shadow on the crease, now I'm going to use the Pro Precision Smudger brush and go into the shade 3553. That is the deepest mauve brown sort of shade that's in the palette. And with this shade, I'm going to take it right along the lash line. This should just help define that lash line, make it look like my lashes are bigger without there having to be just a ton of black. It is so crazy to me how much of a difference that makes. You can see so clearly on the screen how much more finished this eye looks versus this eye, and how much cleaner and finished it looks. It's beautiful. I love it. With 3553 now applied to just the lash line, it looks so beautiful. I love the way that looks. This is like my go-to kind of look. Anyway, now I'm gonna use the angled flat brush. What do they call this? They call this the angled liner brush. Okay, we're gonna use this for angled liner, and I'm gonna use the shade Rabbit Hole, which is black. That makes sense, like you would see if you look down a rabbit hole, you would just see black. And I'm going to make a little wing shape right out here on the right side. I'm not going to carry the wing shape all the way into the inner corner. I'm probably gonna take it about halfway through the lid. That way it doesn't completely take over the smoky line that I've made. And then I'm going to smudge in 3553 with Rabbit Hole so that it kind of diffuses that edge and it's not just straight black everywhere. I don't know how this always happens, but it does. So as you can see, I have this massive, gigantic wing now. So naturally, I'm gonna leave it there and go ahead and continue. So next, I'm going to use this Morphe flat brush that's shaped like a C. Don't know what it's called for sure. And I'm gonna go into the shade Stained Glass. And Stained Glass is going to be my brow bone highlight. Ooh, that's really pretty. You know, I was worried that this was gonna be like too much of a champagne-y type reflective shade, but luckily it's a thin enough metallic-y shimmer that it pretty much melts into the shade that's underneath it and almost makes it look like the shade that's underneath it and just highlights it. So that's perfect for like brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight, maybe even highlighter, who knows? Okay, well with that, that is the end of the eyeshadow on the top part of my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my face makeup, get my lashes on, finish off everything else except for the remaining face products that we have to use, and I will be right back to show you those. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Since I now have my foundation on, I haven't set it yet because we're gonna go in with a shimmer highlighter. There were two that came with this collection, each of them $16. One is in the shade Fairy Tears, the other in Intergalactic. But it's like intergalactic, like return inter. And that shade is a gold, and then Fairy Tears is a soft pink. That's also the case for the next product, which is a luminous setting spray. There were 2 shades in this as well, the shade Lockdown, which is a gold, and then Seal the Deal, which is a rose gold. I think for this look, I'm gonna use the Intergalactic Gold shade, and it's in a little tube with a little squeeze nozzle at the bottom. And I'm just gonna go with my finger just so I don't run the risk of making another tool dirty when I don't even know if it's gonna work. And I took that much. That's probably too much. That is very gold. It kind of resembles more of a copper to me than a gold. It is blending out to be quite beautiful though. Actually, it's blending out to be kind of nothing. It's got just a hint of a sheen. I don't really see any color left over. I actually don't really even know that I see any highlight that happened. So I'm gonna go in with just a little bit more and see if that will blend in. Okay, that has built up a little more pigmented after the second application. Now I can actually see that it's a gold. There's actually some like colored highlight there now. The left side now needs to be doubled up so that it can look like I have highlighter on too. So with this highlighter, I would definitely recommend going in with your finger or a brush just so you don't lose any coverage like you would with a sponge, because it does dissipate very quickly and turns into nothing very quickly. I mean, for that being a liquid highlighter, that took quite a bit of product to build up to anything, really. So just be aware of that. I do think this would look really beautiful on a no makeup day though, because despite the fact that it took a while to build up, it does look really gorgeous. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera, finish setting my face, and finish using all of my powder products. Then we'll come back and we will try the luminous setting spray in the shade Lockdown. So I'll be right back. I'm now back with the face pretty much complete. I did go ahead though and add the shades Stained Glass and Pisces mixed together as my highlighter. And those 2 shades together make one of the most beautiful golden shiny highlighters that I've ever seen in my life. It's gorgeous. But now let's use the luminous setting spray in the shade Lockdown. And in case I didn't say so, this luminous setting spray is $18. Ooh, that's pretty. I love these kinds of setting sprays, although typically they do just have a lot of glitter in them. That's what makes them luminous most of the time. But let's see what it looks like. That was probably way too much, but I love it. Wow, that smells amazing. All right, let's see what kind of glow I have, if any at all. I mean, yeah, there are teeny tiny little pieces of golden glitter throughout my foundation now, but it's not anything too overdramatic. It didn't emphasize any texture or anything like that. It's actually pretty. I don't know that I noticed specifically a luminous glow from it. My skin looks wet, so I guess, yes, I'm getting a little bit of dew out of it, but I don't notice any kind of super shimmery luminescence. So it's a moderate luminosity. And now the very last product is the Madison Beer X Morphe Lip Gloss. I got 3 shades here. We got the shades Jupiter, Mars, and Mercury. Jupiter looks like it is a clear or white. Mars is more of a brown nude, and Mercury is more of a pinky nude. I'm gonna go ahead and open all of them because ya boy can never have too many glosses. So sure enough, the Jupiter one is definitely just a clear. So now we have Mercury and Mars. I think for today's look, I'm gonna go a little darker. Why not, you know? So let's try Mars and see what it looks like on just a lip. Just a plain, no product lip. Ooh, it looks like milk chocolate. Looks like a chocolate shake. And it looks super cute. I think it fits the look. I think it fits the aesthetic. So with that gloss, that was the very last product that I have to review today from the Morphe X Madison Beer collection. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera, finish off my lower lashes, and I'll be right back to give my final thoughts on the full collection. And with that, that now finalizes this look. So what do you guys think? Please let me know down in the comments below. You guys know that I always value your opinion. I think that this collection as a whole is cute. It's not my favorite collection that Morphe's ever done, but it's not my least favorite collection that Morphe's ever done. I feel like the palette is going to give you a lot of neutral options. If you are the type of person who loves to wear neutrals, but you like to change it up within those neutrals, and you want to do warm tones sometimes, you want to do cool tones sometimes, you want to do no tone sometimes, I feel like this palette's going to be pretty good for you because it'll give you more of that like everyday wear type of vibe, but you can still change it up if you want to. Obviously, I chose more of the mauve-y, purpley kind of route today, but I could have gone more warm or even cooler than this if I would have chosen to. So I think that's going to be up to you. As always, when it comes to a neutral palette, that's literally going to be up to your preference and if you think that you would actually get some use out of it or not. I do think the quality for the price is there, though. I don't think it's a bad palette, and I do think you're going to get the use out of it for the cost that you pay. For the brush set, if you need an eye brush set and you don't have one that has an all-encompassing set of brushes, I think it's a good set for you to get a good eye look every time you want to do an eye look. If you already have a bunch of eye brushes, or even if you have a few eye brushes, it's probably not necessary for you to get all of them, especially with Morphe's brush pricing being so affordable that you can buy just a couple of brushes. However, if you don't have them, it is a good value to get them all at once, just in a kit, plus getting the very asexual bag that it comes with. It's clean and just nice. The liquid highlighter I don't really recommend. I don't think it was very good. I wouldn't buy it again. I don't think it's potent enough. I don't even think what it did on my face before I put the powder highlighter, aka eyeshadow, on was good enough for me. I don't think it's a really pretty highlighter. I don't like it. I don't think it's worth the money. So I definitely would not recommend that. However, the glosses, I kind of feel the same way about the setting spray as well. I would much rather just own the continuous mist setting spray rather than this luminous setting spray that I didn't feel like really did a whole lot of difference for the luminosity. So all in all, those are my thoughts and opinions on the Morphe X Madison Beer collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up because it does let me know that you like my content, but it also lets others know that you like my content. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.
Created a space in my head, it was empty.